Ad lib it.
Wait. Oh, he's over there.
And I got my shirt on tonight, just in case, you know.
Well, welcome to the Instigators Hockey Show. I'm Pauly Dee. He's over there. That's Chris Kotsopoulos. We got the Moose. We got the electric hockey guy. And, of course, we got some hockey pucks and with the Instigators on them. And then there's my...
And you got that guy with the big head over there.
That's a character right there, let me tell you.
No,
I hope you got your cold beer.
No, this is a character.
Look at that guy. That's Cassie. That's Cassie's kid right there.
Hey, Rocket Raccoon from Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yep. Let me send out a couple of text messages. Let everybody know we're playing this game.
Hey, by the way, you know, it was in the 70s here today.
70s?
It was too hot.
What?
It was in the 70s here today.
Whoa.
It's like 73, 74. So as usual, what did I do? I didn't go out at all because it was too hot for me.
Got my head up today?
Look at you. You're like Buzz Sawyer now.
I know. Look how short that is. I love it.
You know what you're doing? You're just hiding the grays. That's what you're doing by cutting it short like that.
Sure, something like that. Sure.
Hey, Beth, what's up, girl?
Look what the cat dragged in. Beth is the best. She hooked me up today. Gave me a couple things to talk about. We got a lot to do.
Beth, you liked how I ripped Alex Ovechkin the other night, huh? That one guy on Facebook didn't like it at all. I wanted to send him a bottle of Jergens lotion.
Oh, man.
Well, you got to call him out when you got to call him out. You know, Ovechkin the other night, I'm going to say it right now. I mean, he's never had to pay the price his whole career. Anybody that denies that knows nothing about hockey. He's never paid the price, ever. That's it. That's all I'm going to say about him.
That's it. That's all he's going to say about him. Bullshit, because I got enough to talk about.
If you're going to bring it up, then you open the box. You open the box up. Go ahead.
That's why they call the Instigators, big boy.
I'm ready. I got all kinds of ammunition on him.
Oh, boy.
All kinds.
So, but you must be happy you got thrown out of the game.
Well, I'm not happy. I'm not happy about any of it. To be honest with you, I wish he had tried that shit back in the '80s with a Bobby Probert or a Larry Playfair or somebody like that. Would have sent him back home, and they could have made what's that caviar or something out of him in Russia. That's the thing. We could have made canned caviar out of that guy.
Or even just a Chris Kotsopoulos.
That was just a pussy move, and you know it, Pauly, what he did the other night. Sure, I'll say it. Goodrow gave him a little face wash, because if he didn't, Ovechkin was probably going to flatten him. So what does he do? He chases him down the ice. Even Wayne Gretzky said it on the show that afterwards. He hacked him at least 8 times or more.
Oh, yeah.
Cross-check hat. Yeah. And then he cries like a little bitch at the end of it. He claps his hand when they threw him out. The only thing I'm happy about, I'm going to be honest with you, I'm real happy that they're not making the playoffs this year. Have fun, Alex, playing for that fake gold medal.
You just gotta.
Oh, that was a nice one, by the way. Wasn't that a nice attempt he tried to hit Lafreniere with, too, where he got nothing but air?
You just wind them up. All you gotta say is Alex Ovechkin, and your fucking Kotzi's gone.
Well, he's never paid the price. I don't care. Never paid the price.
We'll put the fucking red light on. Alex Ovechkin. Alex Ovechkin. Oh my God, I love it.
You know who's paid the price in Washington? About 19 coaches under his time there. That's who's paid the price.
That's all you got to do. Mention Alex Ovechkin. That's why they called the Instigators Hockey Show.
Barry Trotz was smart. He got the Stanley Cup, got the owner for Washington what he wanted, and then he got the hell out of there because he knew. He knew.
I mean, I can't anymore. I'm out of breath right now. I'm laughing so hard. So the one thing I will say is obviously they actually showed up that game in the early matinee game the New York Rangers did, but we'll talk about that shortly in a little while. But we got to talk about toughness too. There was a little bit there that I was concerned with, but I was happy with. So we'll talk about the odd man out. Lindgren looks like he's coming back, so we'll talk about that. I do want to move on to another pretty interesting article. And I know Beth put this up earlier the week, and I honestly didn't look at it until she sent it to me again today. I didn't realize that Duchesne lost the tip of his finger.
Oh yeah,
Blocking a slap shot. So my assumption, Kotz, is that the puck hit his finger and the stick.
pinched it.
Yeah,
That's
enough.
exactly what happened.
So now, did his stick break? Do you know? Because I didn't see that part of it. But
I don't think so. I didn't see the whole thing. I saw partial, but
and the article said he pulled his hand out and he looked at his finger and he realized the rest of his finger, the tip of his finger, was in the glove.
well, it obviously got pinched up against the shaft of the stick, Pauly, because I know, and you and I talked about just before we got on the show, that the players today wear gloves that are probably 1/4 of the weight of the gloves that we wore in my day.
Right.
And there's very little protection. It's all about lightness, speed, and the lighter their equipment, the faster they could be. And I did wear these gloves over the last few years in the Legends of Hockey Tour, and yeah, they're great because they're light. The stick feels better in your hand and all that. But when it comes to protection, they're horseshit. I don't care what anybody tells you, they're horseshit. There's no pad. The padding in the front is very soft. It's not really thick at all. It's not going to, take that much of a cushion away of a hard shot. And then, forget about his fingers. If you notice, like the wrist area on a lot of these guys, same thing. But for him to lose the tip of his finger, that's. I don't think I've ever heard of that. In fact, I know for a fact all my life in hockey, and I've been around it for a long time. Started playing when I was 3 years old, and I've never ever heard that before. Where a player loses the tip of his finger because of a shot that he blocked with his hand.
Yeah.
When
I was a kid and I played hockey, they had those stupid little plastic tubes in them, like almost. Man, you couldn't feel shit, man, but you definitely weren't losing this. And again, when you played, there was a lot more splashing on the hands too.
Well, again, first of all, our gloves came up to at least the mid forearm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, especially as a defense,
or at least the lower third of the forearm. Today they don't.
But, no, they end right here at the wrist. Yeah, most of them. And just like you said, it's flexibility, it's speed, it's lightweight. But man, oh man, losing the tip of a finger, whoo, that had to hurt, boy.
Oh boy, I guarantee you that had to hurt because I remember getting stitches in the tip of my finger up in Sudbury, Ontario, and this is going to make us all laugh. It was a fight with Ron Duguay when he was playing with the Sudbury Wolves, and I got, believe it or not, the middle finger on my right hand caught between the glass, and when they broke us apart, it got stuck in there, and I didn't realize how many nerves you have in the tip of your fingers. That stitch was like a horseshoe. And I can tell you, honestly, Paulie, it was at least 5-6 years later before you could really press it without any pain. So I can imagine what kind of pain Duchesne's going through right now. I don't know what the whole story is. Did they try to reattach it? Was it just a little bit? Is it the Ronnie Lott story for the 49ers back in the 80s where he had a choice, they could operate or he could cut the end of his fingertip off after it got a little piece off? I have no idea what Duchesne's going to, he's probably still playing. You know why? He's a hockey player. That's why.
Oh, of course.
Tape it up, get out there.
Of course. Kotz, I was watching today, I was watching some of the picks out west, and I think we should go there a little bit. But
Okay.
everyone feels like I mean, I want to hear what you have to say, but everyone feels like Edmonton's really got a legitimate shot. Everyone that I saw, it was EJ Raddick and a couple other guys, Strader. There was a couple guys, all had Edmonton picked number 2, just behind Colorado. And I tell you, you got to give Colorado a lot of credit because they've been bang. I saw the bang up Landeskog and McKinnon and so many guys banged up all year. But
Is Rantanen hurt too? Rantanen, the big
he
player?
was.
Yeah.
I mean, they had a list of like 13 guys that were out for 10 games or more. And they still have held their own. And obviously, out west, they're the pick to go cup-wise. But I wanted to hear what you thought, because I know you've been up and down with Edmonton. They all 4 guys ranked Edmonton second. They really felt like Edmonton's got the shot this year.
Well, I'll be honest with you. A month and a half ago, I would have said they got Bob open no.
Right.
Like they didn't know how to defend. They could score, but if you don't know how to defend, you can't win in the playoffs. But their last month or so, they've been one of the hottest. In fact, I think they are the hottest team in the league, outside maybe the Rangers and Boston. You know what I mean? They've climbed in the last month and a half, 2 months, from out of the playoffs into still possibly getting first overall. Although I think they'll probably finish maybe second or third overall in the West. So, maybe it's going to pay off for once for Edmonton this year. I don't know, Pauly. I'm going to be this way with them. I kind of like their chances now, but I got to see it to believe it with them because they haven't proved it in the playoffs yet. Unfortunately, Connor McDavid, Leon Draisaitl, and crew, they just haven't proved it in the playoffs over the years. They proved that they could lead the league in scoring. They proved that they could be the top 10 in scoring. They have 3 players, maybe get 100 points this year with Nugent Hopkins. But what they haven't proved, Pauly, is going far in the playoffs. And they're almost like an identical twin to the Toronto Maple Leafs. I know we're getting a little away from it, but they haven't proved their muster in the playoffs.
Right.
So I do like their chances of maybe getting a little further this year, but I got to see it to believe it. That's all.
Yeah. Well, what I find interesting, Kots, is that we were talking last week about teams on streaks, and that's why I was looking at it. Edmonton here, once I open this up a little bit more, 9-0-1 in their last.
I know they're sizzling right now.
It's a time to get hot, sure. But what I didn't realize was how Winnipeg was just. I mean, Calgary and Winnipeg are fighting for that final wild card spot, but they're 5-5 in their last 10, and they're still holding on because Calgary's 6-2-2. So, I mean, do you feel like? I mean, you got Edmonton's clinched now. The other team that I still don't know how to judge is Los Angeles.
I'll tell you what, they've been good all year, Pauly.
Yeah. Just 7-2-1 in their last 10. They've clinched. Vegas clinched. I don't know, man. I still like Vegas, but I wanted to talk more about Calgary and Winnipeg.
Yeah.
Do you think Winnipeg drops out? I mean, they're still.
I don't know what's going to happen there because Calgary at times looks like a beast, and then they look like absolute crap. You know what I mean? And Sutter's called them out a few times, and Bonus, he's done the same thing. Rick Bonus, head coach of Winnipeg, he's called his team out too.
Yeah.
Again, it's the old story. On paper, they look great, Pauly, but for some reason, there's no rhythm, there's no rhyme to either team this year. Winnipeg's been floating around that playoff spot all year. Okay, where Calgary, I think early in the year we're in a playoff spot, but then they dropped way out of it for a while, and now they're right back in it again with I don't know what is. They got 3-4 games left, something like that. 5 games max.
Yeah.
I have no idea what's going to happen there. I think
7. I think they both have 7 games left.
Well, I'll tell you what, that's a lot of games left to make up that 2-point differential, Pauly. It's a 2-point differential, I believe, between Calgary and Winnipeg right now. Am I correct on that?
Yeah. Let me pull it up again. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So they've both played 77 games.
So they got 5 games left each.
Yep, and Winnipeg's up by 2 points. Yep, it's 89 to 87.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what, you can't make a mistake now.
No,
You're either team. You can't make a mistake now. This is must win all the way to the end. You know.
So I never saw Dallas to be where they are, but number 1 in the Central. I never would have seen that. But
Dallas is a strange team, Paulie. When you look at their roster, it's pretty. They got Robertson, who's a young kid, but they got a lot of veterans on that team.
Yeah.
They got a lot of guys that have been around, for a while. So it's not like they're not capable.
I really like Vegas this year. I like Vegas. I like Colorado, obviously, but Edmonton to me is going to be. They're so exciting, and I got to tell you that, I'm not going to say that I'm a fan, but I'm a closet fan out west for Edmonton right now. I would really like to see that talent just light it up.
Listen, I've watched enough. I've seen enough Edmonton games this year, probably at least a half dozen, and on the one side of the ice, they're electrifying to watch.
Yeah. Yep.
But that back half, the games that I watched,
bad, horrible.
They're caca defensively. Okay, they really are.
Yeah.
So they obviously have improved that part with the 9-0-1 streak that you're talking about. But I don't know. Maybe this is their year. Maybe it's their year that they can finally break that. That line that seems to stop them early in the playoffs. What do you got there, Paul? A little saltine.
Saltine's my favorite snack.
Favorite snack because you didn't get any pretzels. Tell everybody the truth. You got to tell everybody the truth, man.
I do love pretzels, but I do love a saltine.
You got to get those pretzels with the peanut butter.
So, if anybody wants to advertise saltines, I'll do it. Anyway, moving on because I digress. What a shit show. Chewing saltines, drinking beers, and cussing like sailors. Welcome to the Instigators Hockey Show.
Give you a little cappuccino with a little something in it.
All right, Cots. The Devils.
For real.
4-4-2 in the last 10.
They're still for real. They're kicking ass again tonight against Pittsburgh.
Yeah, the one time I want the Penguins to win a hockey game. So the Penguins are on the outside. What do you think?
Oh, Penguins are still in the 8th spot.
Yeah, well, Florida's right up their ass.
Oh, you know what? Technically, right now, if you're the New York Islanders and the Pittsburgh Penguins, you better get some diapers on pretty soon.
Yeah, I thought the Islanders were doing
Islanders a week ago looked really good, but right now they don't look so good anymore.
Nope. And the Panthers are picking it up.
Yeah, the Panthers are they still tied with Buffalo tonight, or who are they playing?
Let's pull up the
They
score.
were tied 1-1, and that's a big game for Buffalo too, because Buffalo has 2 games at hand on both the Panthers and Pittsburgh.
It's tied 1-1 still. Hurricanes are beating the Senators. Ugh.
Yeah.
Oh, the Devils are just shellacking the Penguins 4-0.
Can you imagine in one season at the same time that the Big O, the Great Ape, and Sidney Crosby not making the playoffs?
That'd be good. I'd like that, actually.
Well, I like the first part for sure.
Well, I fucking can't stand it.
Of course you can. 3 Stanley.
Ready? Get the alarm going.
Okay. Stanley Cup champion 3 times, Of course you can.
Exactly.
I'm going to get the siren out for you about your Sidney Crosby little crutch.
Oh my God, I love it. Just say the word.
Just 10 times a better player. Better player.
Fucking goes nuts, bro.
Better player.
Oh my God. Well, listen.
But I think it would be a shit show for the NHL when those two guys don't make the playoffs.
When the Golden Boy doesn't make the playoffs.
Oh, now he's the Golden Boy.
Sidney Crosby doesn't make the playoffs.
You're absolutely right. He is the Golden Boy. He's got gold medals. He's got world championships. He's got 3 Stanley Cups. What has Ovechkin got?
I don't know. He's got a few scoring titles. He's probably going to break the world scoring record, and he does have a Stanley Cup.
So did Marcel Dion in his day, okay?
Here we go. I told you. All right, let's go somewhere else because we don't have enough time to do this.
No, because you ain't got enough ammo. You ain't got enough ammo to fight it. That's all.
Here we go. Kotzi, I wanted to ask you about this.
What?
Well, the Rangers play Tampa Wednesday night. I think it's an important game for the Rangers for a lot of reasons. And I know everyone's made the playoffs, they have their position, but I think this is very much could be a second round matchup here. So, this team has beaten the Rangers in the last several playoff years, and it is time to make a statement. 6-4-0 in their last 10. They play Wednesday night against the New York Rangers. 96 points. Not the point season that was expected by Tampa Bay. And I know that you're not hot on them, but couple questions. What do you think Wednesday night? Do you find any importance in this game?
Well, I think they're all important down the stretch. You want to keep some kind of rhythm going, no question about it. And if you do have to face these guys, you like to get some kind of an edge on them, let them know that hey, we know we can beat you. But now I'm going to give you the flip side of it too. There's no possibility of Rangers playing them in the first round.
No.
Okay, good. So the Tampa better worry about their opponent before they start worrying about the Rangers, because Tampa right now is not as good as you think they are.
Right.
Plain and simple. They better worry about who they got to play, whether it's Carolina, whether it's the Devils, whoever it is. They're going to have to worry about those guys.
So the way it breaks down now is that in the Metropolitan, in the East, excuse me.
I have no idea anymore. Like I was okay.
I'm going to tell you.
Finish it off first.
So here it is. So let's say Penguins, hopefully not, hopefully it's the Panthers, solidify the second wild card. Boston would play whoever solidifies the second, okay? Then after that, the Carolina Hurricanes would play the number 1 wild card, which it looks like it would be the Islanders. Toronto would then play Tampa Bay in the Atlantic, and the Rangers would play the Devils in the Metropolitan.
So if I was Tampa, I'd be more worried about playing the Toronto Maple Leafs right now, because Toronto's had the experience again, had them hanging by their throats there last year, and
right.
choked up a little bit. I'll admit it. Losing the 7th game at home, which you should never do. But Tampa's got a lot to prove to me, Paulie. Like, again, they've had a great run. There's no question about it. They've been in the Stanley Cup Finals 3 years in a row. They won 2. They didn't win last year because Colorado was just a better team. But they could have easily lost to the Rangers, and they could have easily lost to the Toronto Maple Leafs just as easy as they won against them. They didn't dominate those 2 teams last year to get to the finals, period, as far as I'm concerned. And I've said it before in this show, those guys are all getting a lot older, and they've gone through a lot of playoff and a lot of hockey over the last 3-4 years. Actually, the last 6 years, because they've been like primed to win a Stanley Cup as far back as 6 years ago. So we'll see. Maybe they still have one more kick at the can. I don't think so personally, but you know what? they can prove me wrong. I think the Devils. You know, we're going to go through that again. You didn't buy the Devils all year. I did. Devils are a good hockey club. They just are. They're going to give anybody fits. You know, in the East.
Well, we're going to play them first round, buddy.
Well, they're going to give the Rangers fits. The Rangers have to play a lot smarter than they did that night, even though it was a low scoring game and the goaltending kept them in it. They have to play a lot smarter, and they have to be ready to play from the beginning, because that first period last week against the Devils could have been 5-0, game over right there. You know, one of those things. But in order to play the Devils, you have to take the body. Period. End of story. They're too fast, and if you don't take the body on these guys and try to wear them down shift by shift, period by period, depending on how long the series goes, then they're going to have trouble against them, Paul. If they think they're just going to be able to freewheel back and forth with them. Mm-hmm. You know, Devils are a fast hockey club. Do they have as many skilled guys technically as the Rangers? No. But their so-called top 6-7 guys that are skilled are fast. That's the difference.
Well, I mean, that's a big breakdown there.
Well, I just call it as I see it.
I don't disagree, but you know, you said you're going to have to be physical against the Rangers. Aren't a physical team.
When you have the opportunity, and listen, every game there's an opportunity to hit somebody in the NHL. For some reason, over the last 10 or 15 years, the players aren't groomed to hitting. Okay?
Right.
And I don't understand it. You and I have talked about this countless times. Why do I skate 30, 40 feet and then to turn away from a guy just because he passed the puck? Follow through, hit the guy. Mm-hmm. Do that 6 times to that guy in a game. Maybe the next game he don't hang on to the puck as long anymore. But if the guy knows he's not going to get hit, well, it's an easy game to play. You can't keep turning away from guys, especially when they're fast. You got them on the boards, hit them.
Well,
not rub them, not get in the way, hit them.
Well, the good thing is, I guess we'll do some Ranger breakdown now. I guess we're there, but you know, I'm looking up and down the lineup, right? And we were talking off air was the third and the fourth line have really impressed both of us in the last, I don't know, half dozen games or so. Getting scoring from the third line or the kid line, whatever you want to call it. And I think, you know, the Mott, Goodrow, and VC line, I think that's a really good line going into the playoffs, because they're a fourth line who could play with you know, I mean, you could match them up against most teams' second lines where they're not going to be taken advantage of. I mean, they're not going to light the lamp, but I think with Mott's speed and the way that they play physical, I think that they're really going to make a difference. And the couple of games of the Rangers didn't start off hot or looked like they were dragging their ass. I kept saying, and I kept thinking to myself, I'd start the Mott line. To play, to send a message to say, you know what, the hot line and the lines that are going to dig in are going to play first.
I have no problem playing the fourth line as much, giving them as much ice time as they deserve because of their play. If they continue to play hard, they should get a regular turn, Pauly.
Yeah.
And I have no problem with them playing against the top team's other line. Not at all. See, right. Here's something interesting that we sometimes forget, and especially, you know, guys from my era. Usually your fourth line in the old days, and even up till probably 10 years ago, was a grinder, physical, and you usually had your top goon on the team, on that line. Right. Well, the Rangers obviously don't have that. And I know you were shocked a little while ago when I told you that Goodrow's got as many, you know, he's got like 12 goals or 13 goals, whatever it is. I don't know what he's got. And VC has got in the double digits too. and Mott's probably got what 4 or 5 or something like that. I would like somebody to find out how many fourth liners have close to 30 goals total.
Yeah.
So they're capable of creating offense when you give them the ice time.
Yeah.
But they're also capable of causing a lot of shit in the other team's zone. Taking the body. VC takes the body. Goudreau takes the body. Mott, love the guy. Hustles, takes the body, puts his body in front of shots. He seems to give defensemen in the opposite zone a lot of trouble when he's chasing them down.
Yeah.
They don't like him when he's
very quick.
Yeah, he's like a pest out there. So I got no problem with that. I got no problem with them playing extra minutes. And the kid line, I'll call it like it was. I mean, the other night they did very well, but I think there was times where Hedl, again, he makes some pretty dumb passes, kind of like Panarin does in his own zone. He's got so much confidence now, Paulie, and I'll admit it, that he's trying those cute little plays in our own zone, and you can't be doing that. And he got caught a few times, and his team bailed his ass out on a few really, really bad passes. But down in the other zone, those three guys, they're in sync with each other.
Yeah.
I think Kakko still needs to get a little bit more involved. But right now, I'd say out of the three of them, Lafreniere is playing the best out of the three of them right now.
Yeah.
The last couple of weeks.
I got to eat some of my words, and I have no problem doing this, is that for the first time, I've seen Lafreniere's talent.
Wow, that goal he scored the other night, that's the second time he's done that this year.
He's done a couple of cute things in the last several weeks. But it's the first time I've seen brilliant flashes from him where he's confident enough and he's playing, he's using his hands and his skill. It was a very skilled play the other night. Now, I thought the goal was a little bit weak, but I thought the skill was fantastic. And, I mean, with skill and hard work, you're going to get the breaks. But
I don't call that a weak goal at all. I call it he made a move on the defense and the goaltender that they had no idea was coming.
Yeah.
That's why. That's why it looked weak to you. They had no idea that was coming.
Yeah. I think I felt like the goaltender could have played a little better. But again, I've witnessed a lot of these little brilliant things that he's finally putting into his game that I haven't seen in such a long time with him, where I was the one to raise my hand and said, I don't know, man. I see the hard work. I haven't seen the gift that everyone made him the first rounder. I don't see it. Now I'm starting to see the creativity, the hands, the ability to actually do things. So, I mean, it's good to see, and it's exciting, and I have no problem saying it's the first time I've actually seen this guy and his creativity and the abilities that everyone saw in the scouting program to say this guy, he's the number one draft. So pretty exciting there.
Yeah, it's good to see. I'm not going to disagree. And like I said, I'll give you a little bit of a props about, Hedl's got a little bit more confidence too now. But I got to throw my caveat in there. It only took 6 years.
Fucking guy.
Well, facts are facts. The facts are facts. It took him 6 years.
The other thing I wanted to make mention is over the last couple of games, I saw Chris Kreider starting to use his body again. Not as much as I'd like, but I have seen it. And I'm like, thank God. So maybe there was a while there, he was nursing an injury we didn't know about, but I have seen him a little more physical because we know that Chris had a more of a physical side to his game.
Oh,
I've seen him knock some people down now. I've seen him, force his will behind the net and in areas where, I started to worry. So,
no, I totally agree with you on that. I think how many times have I mentioned to you about him that if the offense is not there, you can make up for being a physical force that game. You're not always going to be, the great offensive star every night. Okay,
right.
There's some players that are capable of doing it. Chris Kreider's not that way. He's not built that way.
Right.
Where every night you're going to get it. Wow, he's going to score a goal every night. He's going to score a goal every night. It's not going to happen with him. So when you do, as a player, you got to take. get a grip on yourself and understand, well, it's just not working tonight. So the least I can do is play a little bit more physical. Maybe that'll create more offense.
Right.
But when he shies away from being physical, then he's very, very noticeable being not noticeable.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not a knock. It's not a knock on him. It's just that's the way it is.
Well, I think the other part of that, with Patrick Kane, he knows that if he can create more room for Patrick, Patrick's going to be able to feed him in areas where, much like when Zibanejad could feed him. But, Kane's got that little crafty ability to sneak a pass past, and really set up another player for almost a slam and goal. So I think they're really gelling well together. The only thing I might say is, obviously, we talked about the really bad starts, the unprepared, not coming out hard enough, not paying attention to the important details of the game, and just looking real sloppy early. And this comeback kid type shit, that's really got to go away, man. You got to be prepared when the puck drops.
They need this guy in the dressing room before the game, okay? I have no idea why they have such slow starts. It's been going on quite a bit all year, and this is I wrote about this on Facebook a week ago. It's not a coach's problem. This is a player problem. Your normal day before a game, whether it's on the road or at home, is you have a pregame skate, you have your pregame meal, you take your pregame nap. You get to the rink. Some guys like to get to the rink early. Some guys like to get to the rink right on time, when they're supposed to be there. How you cannot be ready to go when the pucks drop, and I'm talking individually. I'm not talking as a whole.
Right.
Each player has to understand you're going to be ready from right after that national anthem signed. You got to be ready to go.
Right.
And there's been just way too many games this year where it hasn't happened. And fortunately for the Rangers, they do have the ability to come back because they've come back in a lot of games that they were down this year. But they weren't able to come back against the Devils the other night. You started off slow and it cost you.
They have the most comebacks, I think.
They do, but we're talking about they were still battling, for a shot getting past the Devils.
Right.
It cost you that night. That was a 4-point difference that game by you losing that game.
It was.
Then you went into Buffalo and you slept walk again until the third period. And you were fortunate to get a tie out of it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Without their best player, too.
This shit's not going to work in the playoffs. You got to be ready. And there's no excuse. This is you can't. You always hear the armchair quarterbacks in hockey. The coach has got to get him ready. The coach has got to get him ready. Really?
No.
Do you have any clue, by saying that? Why does the coach have to get a player ready?
Right.
Coach gives you the game plan. Coach gives you the pluses and the negatives of the other team. Coach gives you a way that you're supposed to play. This is what we want to do offensively. This is what we want to do defensively. This is what we want to do in a power play. This is what we want to do in a penalty kill. Once the game starts, coach can't fire your engine for you.
Right.
So that's simple.
I don't disagree. Those slow starts have been hurtful. And this coming back, even in wins coming back, it's just.
Oh, they've won a lot of games this year coming back. I agree with you. Are you going to rely on that in the playoffs?
I feel like it's too many. I think you got to be ready. I think you got to put your foot on the gas, and I think you got to keep it on the gas, keep momentum. The other part of that, obviously Shesterkin is just. He's been, thank goodness, man. And
Halak.
And Halak. Yeah, I don't disagree. They've been real good, keeping them in games, and then, the Rangers find a wave. Kots, I think one of the biggest things I want to talk about, because I've talked about this so much with the Rangers, is I feel like the power play is really going to make this team either go or it's gonna be the Achilles heel of this team. I really feel that way. Especially starting off like you said with the Devils. The Devils are a good team. The Devils are going to put the puck in the net, and I think the Rangers. I think one of the biggest opportunities they have. I mean, when you look up and down the lineup, you better start scoring goals. Tarasenko, Kane, Zibanejad, Fox. Do I need to keep going? Kreider scored. He's got 32 goals this year.
Panarin, Trocheck, keep going.
Panarin, Trocheck. You got a lot of players here. You've got to bury your chances and your opportunities on the power play. And I feel like the power play with the team that Chris Drury has built, this is a team that needs to take advantage of that part of the game more than almost any other part of the game when it comes to the playoffs. If this team consistently becomes a threat on the power play and can finish on the power play, I think that's going to be the part that either propels them out and into the Stanley Cup, or I think it's going to be the detriment of what's going to knock them out, just not executing enough with that kind of power play.
I have three categories that I consider for the Rangers to be solid in, and that's one of them. But first, I'm going to talk. Obviously, the goaltending is solid. Okay,
yeah.
The goaltenders are doing their job.
Mm-hmm. No doubt. Either one of them.
Defensively, in their own zone, they're still sloppy as hell on that. I don't understand why defensemen back into the hash marks and let guys shoot full speed coming across the blue line. And I don't. And you and I talked about it last week. It's one-on-one play. Once the puck gets scrambling in your own zone, you should know who your man is and stay with him.
Right.
Now the third key, you mentioned the power play. There's so much that goes into it that I'm going to start off with. I don't think they're selfish enough sometimes.
Yeah, don't disagree.
They're still trying to make that extra special Russian roulette pass when they shouldn't be. I think Patrick Kane's as guilty as anybody right now. Plenty of opportunities for him to shoot the puck on the power play, and he's still trying to thread that needle. Panarin does it all the time. I think they got to be more selfish. But here's the real key, Pauly, when you're talking about the playoffs, power play in the playoffs especially. You're not going to get a lot of opportunities. Right. They like to, for some reason, put the whistle up their butts in the playoffs, the referees. Yeah, okay?
Exactly.
You do get that opportunity. You got to score.
Yeah.
You might only get one or two chances a game, maybe three the most.
Yep.
You better score.
Yep.
You can't go 0 for 3 or 0 for 2. You got to score at least one out of those three, hopefully two out of those three. Yeah. Because you're not going to get that game in the playoffs where it's like, oh, God, you had 6 power plays or you had 4 power plays or you had 2 power plays in one period and another one in the next and another one in the next. Doesn't happen in the playoffs.
Right.
When that opportunity arises, those guys have to be dead on and they have to be very selfish and take the shot when the opportunity arises. Okay?
Right.
That's the key. You're right. That's the key. If you could add a power play goal a game in the playoffs, I like your chances of winning.
Right. And with the offensive prowess that you have on this team, I mean, you got to think, Drury went out and stacked it up. I mean, alone for having, you had Zibanejad, you had Panarin, you got Kreider, who is good in front of the net and scored 52 goals last year. You add Patrick Kane, a prolific, first of all, opportunistic kind of guy.
Second all-time American in points, Paul.
A point getter, a point per game.
He may be older, but he's still got enough to help this team.
I like Tarasenko's goal the other night. I thought it was a pure goal scorer's goal, high over the glove side. The other night, I'd like to see him do more of that. I feel like Tarasenko's coming into his game too.
I was very skeptical. Remember we talked about when we first got him. He didn't look very good the first week, but I've noticed some things about him now. That guy's a smart hockey player.
He is.
He's a smart hockey player. He back checks, And the part that I like the most is he does have some physicality to him.
He does. He sure
Where
does.
the guy's coming on him,
He doesn't shy away.
he don't get knocked down very often.
Nope.
The other guy goes down first.
Yeah, and if a guy throws a stick at him, he throws a stick back. A guy throws a punch at him, he throws a punch back.
Yeah.
He doesn't back away. I agree with you, and I think it took a little time, but I think first of all, he seems to be doing a lot of smiling. I think he's actually having fun. I think he believes in what this team can do, and his confidence is there. He's been scoring the goals that I've watched him score, a goal scorer's goals.
Well, you know what, Paulie? Like you got to remember when he was in St. Louis, he was the guy.
I know.
When he comes to the Rangers, he's not the guy anymore. He's one of the guys.
He's one of the guys, right?
So I think he's happy about that part, that his mind's a little freer and his game's a little freer. Instead of, holy shit, if I don't score tonight, Jesus, who's going to score for us? You know what I mean?
Right.
In St. Louis, he was the key guy. And here, he's still a key guy, but he's not the only key guy.
Yeah.
But I also think there's a little bit of Patrick Kane and him similarities, too, where Patrick Kane's still feeling his own, too, where he's a little bit shy on shooting the puck right now. I'm trying to be more of a playmaker, where I'd like to see him actually shoot the puck, because there's been plenty of opportunities where I think he should have shot instead of pass.
Yeah.
You know, it'll work out. I think offensively, you're right. I think there's no excuses offensively for this team.
I got to be honest. I mean, if you look up and down the National Hockey League, this team has as much offense as, you know. Now, they don't have the skill player in McDavid and stuff like that, but they have layers of offense.
Well, I mean, Edmonton's really heavy, number 1, 2, 3.
Right.
Rangers aren't as heavy at the 1, 2, 3 like Edmonton, but the Rangers are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Right.
I don't think Edmonton has the 4, 5, 6, 7.
Much fuller. There's much more bullets in the gun, man.
But the other thing we got to mention too in the playoffs too is there needs to be a little step up physically when it's needed. And again, I'm beating a dead horse here, and we talked about it last week. Who are the guys that are capable of being physical? Who are you going to ask to step up when it's needed? Obviously, Mikola's doing his job. Nico's done a great job. Okay,
I like him.
Okay,
I like him.
Trouba, you can always count on. Schneider needs to do a little bit more up. He's got to do a little bit more physically.
Yeah.
As far as I'm concerned. Up front, you got Goudreau doing it. You got VC doing it. And you got Trocheck doing it.
Yeah, you got Mott doing it too. I think Mott throws it.
But you gotta look at the guys who are really capable physically wise.
And I think Kreider's starting to boost his line. And I think Kreider needs to play physical. I think, especially against the Devils, I think he better take the body.
Well, I'm not saying like you got to go and goon it up and all that.
I know.
You know, I just think I just don't understand players' mentality today. That's why I'm going to check you and then turn away from you just because you pass the puck. Fuck that! I'm hitting you.
Yeah.
That's the part that's missing.
Let's say Lindgren comes back, right?
This is going to be tough, Paulie. I'll be honest with you. It's going to be really.
Well, the odd man out, obviously, let's talk about it. It's important. The odd man out here is probably going to be Harper. And I like Harper.
Yeah, it is. But, you know, we're also talking about a guy that's missed basically a month and change of hockey.
I know.
And it's not easy. It's not easy. Maybe, I don't know what's going to happen here. We're going to see. We'll see tomorrow night because he's going to be in the lineup tomorrow night.
Yeah.
See if he's capable of, playing through a game without it re-injuring his shoulder.
Well, here's the thing, man. I hate to say it, but
you're talking about rhythm and everything else. The team's on was on a bit of a roll. Up to 2 losses.
I hate to say this, but I think I feel that this game tomorrow is important, but I feel like Tampa's going to try to play the Rangers physically. I think you're going to see that tomorrow.
I wonder why.
Because
this goes back to you and I when we had our arguments off the show.
Well, this is what I'm worried about.
Out and got. Let me see. Who did they get a couple of years ago? Oh, that's right. Paul, big, mean center. Who did they have before that? Oh, that's right. Maroon. Oh, what did they go out and do? Oh, they got Tanner Jeannot.
Yeah.
And that went with a whole bunch of other guys that like to take the body.
So how do you see this panning out tomorrow? And possibly in the playoffs? How do they match up against Tampa?
Well, I don't think Tampa's fourth line is going to get as much ice time. Because I don't see their fourth line matching up with the Rangers' fourth line, personally.
Right.
I don't. I think the Rangers' fourth line is a little bit more offensive-minded. Okay? This might come down to what you just talked about, Paulie, the power play.
Yeah.
Come down to the power play. Tampa's still got a great power play, and the Rangers are going to have to – if they don't want to get involved with it physically, they're going to have to bite their tongue and hope Tampa takes some dumb penalties, and you're going to have to capitalize on their power play. I'm not sure how this is going to work out. I'm not sold on the Tampa Lightning this year. For some reason, I'm not. I told you I could be wrong, but I don't think they're as feared as they were the previous years. Let's put it that way.
Offensively, maybe not. In net, maybe not. I mean, I still think Vazzy's pretty great goaltender, but like you had said, I think one of the components against the Rangers is playing them physical. Now, tomorrow's just one game, obviously, but it leads to what I believe, and that's why I said I feel like the Rangers' power play is so important to get out and to move on because of teams like the Boston Bruins, which we talked about. If they do match up against Tampa, I mean, they're not, offensively, I think now more than ever, the Rangers have more power. Obviously, it's got to turn into behind the net. It's got to be pucks in the net, and that's on the power play in those areas. I mean, Tampa's still got some pretty good goal scoring, but I think the physical.
Oh, there's no doubt about Tampa's
because the Rangers' defense isn't very physical. So you take Harper out and you put Lindgren in. Lindgren plays with the heart of a lion, but he's not a big man. He's not going to move. There's players that are going to move him around.
Let's put it this way: if Tampa has to rely on giving a bulk of the ice time to Paul, Maroon, and Jeannot, they're in trouble.
Well, yeah, I don't disagree with that.
Rangers going to have to capitalize. I guess there's all kinds of way to look at it. If they have to play Tampa to playoffs, you got to get the lead. You got to score first.
Yeah.
Put them back on their heels.
Yep.
Tomorrow night's game is going to be I don't think it's a be-all, end-all game, but I think it's going to give you a little idea of what you can do against them and what you can't do against them.
Right.
And you might have to use that in your repertoire if you have to play them in the playoffs. But I'm not sold on Tampa this year. They've been through a lot of wars, Paulie. When you go through a lot of wars in a 6-year period, you got to remember Tampa won their 2 Stanley Cups after they were supposed to win Stanley Cups the previous 3 years.
They won 2 COVID Cups.
They've gone through a lot.
They won 2 COVID Cups. They won 2 shortened season cups. They couldn't.
But they still were supposed to win. Kind of like the Vegas Canucks were supposed to win with the Barbie twins there.
Moving on, though, I want to talk a little bit before we close out here because we're about 8 minutes away. But the Boston Bruins, how do you feel about the Bruins?
Still, the beast. They're the beast. I haven't changed my mind on them. They're going to be a tough team to beat. Are they beatable? We mentioned this last week. Of course, every team's beatable.
60 wins, man.
But you're gonna have to play perfect hockey against the Boston Bruins in order for it to go 7 games. Because nobody's gonna beat the Bruins 4 straight. Okay, yeah. If you know what I mean. Yeah. That I'll bet on.
Kelsey, you think a lot of what's happening there is just really good team defense and then great goaltending?
Paulie, just look at their lineup. Okay? You got Bergeron, seasoned veteran. Marchand, what a pain in the ass he is. But Pasternak's got 6 goals less than McDavid. Everybody's talking about McDavid. Pasternak got 56 goals.
Yeah.
Then you look at their second-tier guys, and you look at their third-tier guys, and their fourth-tier guys. They all contribute offensively. And their defense is not a young – they all talk about it being a young. They're not young anymore. These guys have all played 3 to 5 years or more in the league. They're not young anymore. They're a season – like, let's put it this way. They're a very well-seasoned dinner, okay? They're almost too perfect. And their goaltending's outstanding at the same time.
Yeah. They do have dynamic goaltending.
They lead the league. I think they lead the league in goals against. I think they're might be in the top 2 or 3 goals for. So this has gone on all year, and we all get excited when they lost one and tied one. You know what I mean? Or something, lost in a shootout. Wow, there's a chink in their armor or whatever. You know what I mean? Achilles heel.
Yeah, this is 9-1 in their last 10.
I'm not supposed to say that, right? Chink in an armor, but I will anyways. It's my show. You know what I mean? They're just really good.
Yeah.
I'm hoping somebody beats them.
I know, me too.
You know, I'm hoping. You always hope to give them a tough time. I mean, you got to remember, playoffs is a different story. You know, things could change, but boy, oh boy, it's going to take what's that word? Herculean effort to unseat the Boston Bruins.
God, that's scary, man.
Well, it's just the way it looks.
Scary.
Somebody might be able to take them to 6 games, you know.
So you need a shit seed to.
No. When you the biggest upsets in the history of hockey, when you really think about it, and I go back to like being a Bruin fan when I was a kid. The Boston Bruins should have won like 3 or 4 Stanley Cups in a row there in the early 70s. They won 2 out of 4 years, but they should have won probably 3 in a row, 4 in a row. But some guy, Ken Dryden, came out of nowhere for the Montreal Canadiens and stopped the big bad Bruins. Like that was like Tyson getting beat by that guy who was a 44-1.
Yeah, Buster Douglas too.
Yeah, you know what I mean? That's what it was like.
Yeah.
So, could Shesterkin be that guy? Who knows? Who knows? It's going to be tough. Bruins are going to be tough.
Yeah.
I hope. Here's what I hope. Okay, I hope the Rangers get past the first 2 rounds and don't have to play the Bruins till the last round in the East. You know what I mean?
Yeah. If at all. Hopefully somebody could decrown them. It wouldn't be the first time a President Trophy winner lost, you know?
No. Again, it's possible, but right now they're the heavy favorites to win it all.
60 wins they have, man. 12 losses. 5 overtime losses.
I've been appreciative of what the Bruins have done. Okay, you know that, but I'm still gonna take that Montreal Canadian team from 77, 78 that lost 8 games. Remember, there was no shootout wins back then. Eh? You lost, you tied. That's it.
Yeah, I get it.
That Montreal team lost 8 games all year.
No 3 on. Excuse me. Apologize. I don't know. I got none left. I'm all fizzled out, as you can see in my.
We're getting down to the crunch time.
Crunch time.
Yeah, like this week's gonna be a big week for a lot of teams. It's Pittsburgh and Washington gonna be squeezed out. Well, Washington's finished. Forget that. But is Pittsburgh gonna get squeezed out by Florida? You know, are the Islanders gonna fold like a tent? It's possible. You know, West, Calgary, Winnipeg. I know Nashville's technically involved still too, but I think they might be a little bit too far a stretch for them.
Right now, the Panthers are beating the Sabres 2-1.
Okay.
5 minutes left in the third. Maple Leafs are beating the Blue Jackets. Hurricane Senators tied at 2.
Oof. Yeah, I said it on here. Mason put it up.
Yeah. The Penguins got destroyed by the Devils. It's 5-1 with 2.5 minutes left.
So technically, if Florida wins tonight, do they catch Pittsburgh or they pass them?
I don't see.
I think they pass them.
Yes. So if the Panthers win tonight and the Penguins look like they lost, that should bring them to. Sure will. Brings Florida 87 points, and it would leave Pittsburgh at 86 points. So as long as Pittsburgh's not getting a point. So Florida needs a big win here. And they will jump ahead by 1 point of the Pittsburgh Penguins.
Wow.
And they'll actually be tied with the Islanders with 87.
That's what I'm saying. The Islanders could take a big shit too.
So
it's possible.
Yep.
I have no idea who to finish up with. I have no idea, who Pittsburgh finishes up with or Florida, but it's going to be. I'm going to keep an eye on that crap, so we'll have all kinds of ammo to talk about next week.
I'm thinking we're doing probably Wednesday of next week. It looks like, Cots.
Wednesday of next week. All right.
It looks like that. So everyone keep that in mind. Next week, Wednesday. I know last week I announced Tuesday that we would probably do it. So Wednesday, I know Cots got some plans on Monday. I don't know what I have going on something on Tuesday. So
I got concert to go to on Monday, and then I'm going back into the big city to go see my former teams play, the Rangers and the Leafs. So
let me see something here. Let's just look.
It's going to have to be Tuesday or Wednesday for sure.
Let me look. Now the cider here is the schedule. So
drum roll. Let's do the siren again, Pauly. Yeah.
Either day doesn't matter. Tuesday or Wednesday next week.
Well, you're the man in control. You're the one that has more to do.
It's more likely going to be Wednesday. There's no games Tuesday or Wednesday. The Rangers' final game is against Toronto on Thursday.
And I will be there at the God.
So that should be fun. Rangers play Tampa tomorrow, St. Louis the day after, Columbus on Saturday. They get a little rest. Then they play Buffalo. Buffalo's going to need those points.
If Buffalo doesn't win tonight, I think it hurts them.
Yeah.
They don't come back and win that game against Panthers. I think it's going to hurt them.
So, and then they end the season in Toronto. So it looks like Wednesday next week, more than likely.
Wednesday it is.
All right. With that being said, thanks for everyone joining us. We didn't see Barry. I do see Michael Mason, my man. He was very active.
Mr. Ryback, the only Montreal Canadian fan in the state of Pennsylvania. You figure it out.
Well, at least it's an original 6.
You don't even know why he's a fan of Montreal.
Well, anyway. Looks like Wednesday next week. Let's go Rangers. Big game tomorrow night, everyone. So I'll have some comments myself. That's at home too. That's the Garden, right? They're home there.
Which one?
Tomorrow night's.
Yeah.
I was wondering why I didn't have tickets for tomorrow night. Now I know. All right, everyone.
You can take a flight from there to New York.
I mean, I could, but I've traveled a lot.
You can stand outside and listen to the guy. Tickets here, tickets. I got tickets.
I've done a lot of traveling lately. All right, so next week will probably be the closer. Well, next week, then the following week.
Following week, you're going to be busy.
No, the following week we're okay. It's probably going to be the week off from playoffs, so we'll get all prepped up, and it's the week after that. It's the week of the 24th.
Okay, so next week we're on, and then we're on the next week, and then the playoffs start.
Yep.
All right. We'll try and squeeze something in on the playoffs. We'll get you in one of them one of the bathtubs there in Vegas or something like that. You know, a heart-shaped bathtub. You know where they got the video on the wall, videotaping you?
I think Barry's going to be in Vegas when I'm in Vegas.
Right, yeah. Well, you are.
I think he's going to. I think we share a couple of days over there. But, all right. Anyway, I'm about to finish this beer and call it a night. Let's go Rangers. Big game tomorrow, and we'll see you in about a week.
All right, people.
Hey, everybody.
Thanks. You got it just as bad.